And we are back. Greetings, folks. Greetings, listeners. Greetings, everybody out there that pay attention to this platform. Great to be here. Feeling good. Um, just back to share a few thoughts, a few conversations here and there, a few things, ponderings and different things, along that nature. But hope you're all doing well. This is Mad Poet Podcast. I am your host, Alex Murdoch, and hope everybody out there is having a good one. Um, positive. Um, things to share, things happening, things ongoing, and the one thing I want to start with, which is positive, was I mentioned in the last um, live I did, or the last broadcast I did, had a you know, an article speaking about, poetry and me, you know, um, being featured in a piece. So, but basically, it's a magazine, and I just wanted to say, share, appreciate pen to print. I've been listening to, sorry, I've been paying attention to the magazine and everything that came out. And the one thing I have to say about them is they're always professional, and it's always a beautiful thing. Um, this was issue 24, and I'm sure there's going to be other. There's going to be another issue before the year finishes. I think 2 issues in about 4 to 6 months I think, until the next issue. But this was issue 24 that just came out, first one of the year. It was it featured yours truly. I actually had a piece in there, and I also had an article where I was with Sharon. It's very concise because it's meant to be like just straight to the point, just really speaking about what is poetry and stuff like that. So it's a good read. So I would recommend people, and also there's so much great information out there about writers, the writing community, and for readers. These 24 um, issues that they have. So I would say, I'll do my best to make sure I share the link with this live as well. But yes, shout out to Pen to Print, um, and I'll keep you posted about future endeavors. And of course, they have future issues coming as well. So very positive with that one. And welcome back, my friend Strings. Good to hear from you, man. How are you? How are you? I
I'm
know you've
good,
been
bro.
moving, popping, and shaking, as they say. How you doing?
I'm alright, man. Been a long week, but we here.
Right, I'm mute as
So,
well.
oh,
Just mute right now. Quite everything.
no? Let me.
Clearly, Strings having some technicals.
How about now?
I
Still?
hear you. Can't hear you. Um, hold on. I think you should be good now.
Yeah?
Or is it me?
Still no?
Yeah, I guess it was me.
Right,
My
man.
bad.
Try to set me up.
I had my laptop on silent, on mute, sorry,
Oh,
because
good.
every hour it goes off, it tells me the time. So usually I just, if I'm working in public
Oh yeah.
settings,
I mean, at this point, it's an ad lib, isn't it? So,
if I'm working in public settings, I normally
oh, I got. Okay, yeah. Says.
just put it on mute so I don't hear the sound. But yeah, man, welcome back. How you doing, man? I know you've been busy. How's everything?
Yeah, good. Had some events. Yeah, just cooking, really. Um, personal, um, network, creative. So yeah, it's good. I was on my way back, um, home today, just thinking like, yo, all the little things that I'm doing add up. Um,
Yeah,
so don't think because I'm not writing or doing something for 12 hours of the day, like, don't think like that. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, that's real talk, man. Yeah, yeah. You know, not that I really get much chance to these days, but I'm really trying to go out my way to just have one day
hmm
where I try to. It's hard to not do anything because I have so much to do, but just one day where I don't do much. And so this is that one day. But for the most part, it really does help for me to just maintain my esteem throughout the rest of the week.
hmm
And I really appreciate that. It's a learning thing. I mean, I've always had it there, but for a couple of months or like to close to maybe a year or two, it was very inconsistent and consistent next to not to existing, consistent next
yeah,
to non-existent.
yeah,
And I'm just hindsight to showing me how inconsistent it was. So I suppose in essence I'm just saying just these small things it helps to sort of aid and bring balance, show you how important just taking care of yourself or just keeping
absolutely,
these
man.
things in place. So maintain your self-esteem, especially when you have a lot of things that you'd like to stay on top of
hmm
throughout an average week.
But you,
But
the athlete, man, rest and recovery.
absolutely, man, absolutely. But I got something for you.
Yes. I don't know how you do it, man.
But we do it because we must. 'Cause we must. All right, you ready?
Yes.
It says, "Gone with the wind. Seldom times perception inclines to be gone with the sins. What defines right or wrong? What defines the might or strong? Inclined to sing of myths and legends like monster songs. Onwards, onward moments for the inside had triggered the changing of the tides. Life so long. I shall live for something other. I shall uplift myself to something better, like a letter to a time that was never won. Just a premise of a time that sits like dawn. The insight renders sparks that embezzle darkness. Some say see, one must see less. Growing with the mess has made me a servant. I just see that last two line again.
Yeah.
Some say to see one must see less. Let me just say that again. Some say to see one must see less. I just wanted to slow it down because you have to get it right. So yeah, some say to see one must see less.
Mm.
Growing with a mess had made me a servant. Obviously, it's an excerpt, so I just trying to give as much context as possible. So yeah, that's the piece for today. The quote. I just wanted to share with you.
Yeah.
Have
Nah,
mm,
bro.
have you cook that one up for a little bit. But
You know, be the legend bar already got me.
what's that? What
Um,
myths and legends?
yeah, man. But that's a great way to close as well. Um, on that, I think it's unavoidable for people to have to really see what is going on in their lives and around them, and the only way to do that is to cut out things that you didn't even realize you was taking in on the daily. Um,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, this one runs deep. It's not necessarily there's certain things that superficial things that you can take from the surface, but there's so many layers underneath that. So it could be one of those that is power packed, and there's so much to unpack.
mm,
You know, in between and in the meat and potatoes, as they say. But in essence, I'll just bring more context because my titles usually gives a lot of context to the piece as well. So this one's called "Believers' Lies."
mm,
You know,
interesting title.
yeah. So I thought that
Believers'
was
lies.
yeah, "Believers' Lies."
Ooh.
Food for thought.
Feels like a catch 22.
Well, somewhat, somewhat.
Do you know what I mean? Um, because you believe in something until you find something else that makes you realize whether you can
Mm.
carry it to the next stage of your life, so to speak. Um,
Well, I just say it like this. As they say, belief is a matter of perception.
yeah.
So whatever your perception is pretty much normally folds to what you believe in, or what you believe to be, in essence, what is. Or so, which leads me to the crux of the matter, where we're going with this. So the first question I would ask you is, I'm sure you saw the title. Um, are we in seek of purpose or merely a dopamine rush?
Both. I need that hit. I need it, bro. Purpose is long. It's a long game, and I like to take the positive from the dopamine rush of um, when I reach goals, I hit milestones, you know, and even to the minute days where I couldn't be asked to do something, but then you open your laptop, you go through you go for a draft and you add some lines. That's a little win. You know what I mean? Um, I feel for those who are struggling with trying to find substance with what they do, the rush is trying to be successful tomorrow in whatever that
Mm,
is. And then that's where um, it starts to showcase in how they go about their pursuits. So, example, top of my head, when someone goes viral, they do everything to keep to fan those flames. Yeah, come gang. They do everything to fan the flames. Um, they get PR, they get
yeah.
management, they're recording every day. And they're like, and it's like, yo. Um, but funny enough, they do all this to play in the big leagues with people in situations that have taken a while to get to where they are and not be shaken. Um,
Hmm. Um, perhaps I'll give you. Perhaps I'll sort of blow the picture up for you a
mm,
little bit, so you get a bit more context of where I'm at with this. So a lot of times, or just in life in general, we say, "I know what my purpose is. I know what I want to do. I know what is for me," or "I recognize what this person is about, and the direction they choose to go in, it resonates with me. I think I'm going to follow this path. I think I found God. I think this is for me. I think I'm going to follow this path." There's so many different ways to do it, even as, and it evolves just like we do over the ages in terms of like from, kindergarten. Oh man, you know what? I think I want to play football for the rest of my life. Thinking you can play football for the rest of your life. I think I want to join the choir. Being one of those guys at the front, singing, etc., etc. So you see, those are it's just like various disciplines, etc. And like we said, it evolves as you grow. So you might reach, for example, the latter stage of your life. You're in your 40s, between 40s and 60s, and you found your final form, as in your purpose. This is it, etc., etc. Um, Whatever that may be. As we said, there's different crafts. It could be a craft. It could be a religious endeavor where you're trying to go this direction, etc., etc. So, as we know, with this premise that we live in, that we have this purpose. We have it's also purpose is next to having belonging. It's next to belonging. It's next to satisfaction and just having um, a path, which is synonymous.
mm,
And with that brings so much gratitude. It brings so much relief. It brings so much stability, balance, etc. Hence, but I suppose I'm making a bit more literal with the use of dopamine. Dopamine. So the question:
mm.
are we in seek of purpose or merely a dopamine? So it's a little bit more nuanced to it. So I suppose what I'm saying is,
Mm.
there's a fine line between the two. Between having a purpose and you know what comes with that, the rewards that comes with that. Speaking of dopamine rush, and I think, and this is just a theory of mine. Some people go towards having. It's a theory, but and I don't know necessarily the reason behind it, but I would say some people go towards the dopamine rush while others go towards the purpose. Now, what I'm trying to figure out is, who are you? Like, stimulation, what stimulates you? What are you aiming for? You know?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm glad they're very similar because one word or phrase that comes to mind that joins the two together is what does my boy say? Delayed gratification.
Mm. Okay.
That's what that word comes to mind.
Yeah.
Because from just a flash review, when I think of purpose, I get that. For me, it's that light that um, just sparks itself up back again. And I'll say it out loud when I see something, or I see I'm inspired, or when I'm feeling a certain way.
Yeah.
I just remind myself of like, this is why I want to do this. And that entails what makes this journey towards this destination in mind, with it being a purpose. It feels more, um, there's a gratitude with when it comes to your purpose, I feel, because the appreciation gets deeper when
Yeah.
you are trying to stay on the path to what made you, to that exact moment in time that triggered it in the first place. Um, Whereas dopamine, from the literal sense, it's it's just quick, it's fast. Um, it's the definition, by my understanding, is that you fulfilling an action to get quick release. Um, so what, depending on what you're doing, what if you're what if it's not giving you a quick release, so to speak. So if it's not being
There you go. I'm glad you
triggered
went.
by, yeah, let's do it. If you're not triggered by um, healthy habits, then it's just, your synapse is getting fried. But in order to rewire that, scientists say that you should exercise, you should um, do things you don't want to do to get
Mm.
a better relationship with your mind, um, for those endorphins to kick in, for you to get a better response from that. So, and I feel, now you say that, purpose might be tied to getting a healthy form of dopamine, because it just goes back to what I say, that I'm here to make my journey fun, um, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna need a hit every now and then, because when I get to the goal, um, or when I've put in enough time and I can look back, and it's like I will always be able to say I'm proud that I've stuck to the path that I've committed to.
Mm.
And I think that's gratitude, but some days it might feel like dopamine, and I'm like, why not? Because that sense of appreciation is just a lot more deeper, comes with a lot more wisdom, um, and the time, the length of time is what differentiates the two, between purpose and dopamine.
Mm.
So,
I think you're leading to there's a I believe there's a study that's saying there's a part of the brain that only develops by doing things that you don't want to do.
mm,
Um, right, I said they said one of the people that um, have a great advantage from stuff like this are athletes because they normally are in situations where you just you don't necessarily want to do it, but it just these are necessary tools of the trade what you have to somewhat carry out.
funny you say that. That's been the I saw that mentioned by Ryan Coogler. Big up the big bro. Um,
Mm.
he was an athlete before he took up film,
Yeah.
and I immediately thought about your journey and your approach to things. Um, and yeah, he gives that part of his journey a lot of credit for how he's been able to push through the industry, like coming up with ideas and just setbacks, etc. So
Mm.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah. I would agree with that. Me personally. And just to sort of put it in a lane that everybody can understand. Mike Tyson always had the saying that and I think it comes back down to that, which primary saying is to do is discipline, which is doing something you hate but doing it like you love it.
Mm.
And I suppose that's to me is a great saying because it comes back down to the very essence of what discipline is supposed to be. No matter who you're speaking about, everybody has something that they don't necessarily want to do,
Mm.
but in a situation where you have to do it like you love it, you can only imagine the uh, the evolution that's taking place. So it's just that it's where we are. It's where we are. Um, but I want to flip it on its head a little bit. Still on topic, but it also had me thinking. Just going through this question. Like for example, as we're saying, there's this situation where you're going for your purpose, your path, and the reaction is that what physical reaction in terms of like I should I say physiological reaction is that your body is feeding you with dopamine, rewarding you with this good feeling, like you know what I
Mm.
mean, and just that. So the theory is, well, the question mark, I would say, you're in this situation now. So what if your body was punishing you instead of rewarding you?
Oh, wait a minute, because we're about to go left.
Yeah.
About to go left. Um, and I want to double back to a word that you mentioned, tying to purpose as well. You said
Mhm.
belonging, so just putting that out there so you can remind me. But
Yeah.
funny enough, um, it's always funny, isn't it? um, yeah, that. Oh, I literally wrote that about that in one of my reviews. I think a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
where um, it gets to a point where you can't continue to use shame to advance or to change your habits or whatever. You can't use it as a driving force.
Mm.
Um, it will break you. Um, and why that comes to mind is because um, it's like a hole that bro, it's literally an abyss. It's an
Okay.
abyss.
Let me add to let me color in a little bit more than
Mhm.
color in some grays on this. What if pain? What if pain was the reward system, or should I say, the rewards system's dopamine, and we saw it as such? What if we thrived off pain or we loved pain? Am I being a bit too mad scientist right now?
No, no. That's what we do. It's just about finding the formula. Uh, I like the pain in the gym, but oh, it's like,
Let me ask you this:
mm,
can you think of any situation that you can? Let's. I'm just trying to translate a little bit. Can you think of any situation or examples in life that you can find where people are somewhat doing something they love but are being punished for it.
Yes.
Yet they persist.
Yes.
Go on.
Chatting up women. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Um, if you don't get better at it, you're cooked.
Yeah.
Um, and if you give up, then it, parts of your confidence attached to that gets shattered in other aspects and different forms. Um, and that's why I give that space so much credit as I've gotten older because um, it's not the outcome per se, it's who you want to build yourself up in order to get that outcome. And that pours into many other aspects because those men who are successful, um, they will use trinkets, they will drag people under the bus. So then someone else who's got that experience will say, why are you not just being direct? And it's like, oh, the a constant amount of replays of rejection in their mind like
Mm,
pins them down. So they'd rather go through different kinds of pain, like a career, um, whatever it is, to better themselves from a current situation. Then when it comes down to it, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to use these merits to
yeah.
get success in that department." But they wish that um, they didn't have to do that, so to speak. Um,
But in saying that, because you just mentioned careers,
mhm.
is one more necessary than the other?
In terms of having to,
Having, like as you mentioned, speaking to a woman
mhm,
and going to a job where, you know, at the end of the day, you're literally feeling like you're dead or you're dying because
mm,
how much you've run
give
yourself
into it.
through the mill, type
Yeah.
of speak.
Uh, I'd say to an extent because I was saying to someone the other day that unfortunately what we do is tied to status, and it's
Oh,
unfortunate,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely,
So
it's a big part of it.
um, the unfortunate part is you are perceived by what you do. Um,
True, true.
so it's why it's a joke when I see on social media about like when explaining to a babe, what do? You finagle it to make it look like something else. Um, and those who overcome themselves and the statuses that are put on them, they shine above that because then they make it known without even saying a word that this role I'm in suits my lifestyle right now. It has nothing to do with impressing anybody. But
Mm.
when that's not there, people will see the chinks in your armor, as they say, because you just have that energy about you. But yeah, they're one and the same, because essentially that same source that makes you want to level up in your career, your field of work,
Yeah.
which is natural progression. We are humans, mammals at the end of the day. We want to learn how to have better interactions with women, no matter their outcome, whether you want a relationship or you want to be around them more. Um, how to do that has a huge impact on the brain.
I hear you. I hear you. At the same time, it's perhaps because there is a reward system there at the same time,
Absolutely.
you know. So it's not necessarily like totally like you know like dry, like this is what it is. It's just pain, etc., etc.
Mm.
It's kind of like it's leading to success somewhat down the road, but you just have to find a way. I guess what I'm saying is there's certain instances where, like for example, if you go old school or new school, bank robber,
Mm.
like those type of roads are leading nowhere. It's like, short term, like maybe rewards, if you will, if you do get away. But for the most part, you're going to end up in a situation. And for the most part, most people get caught.
Mm.
And so you end up in prison. So, but at the same time, this is your purpose. This is what you're professional, right? Let's be real. You're professional. So it's a part of the job. You go into prison, you're professional, what do you call it? Criminal.
Mm.
So this is part of the whole scheme you have, the whole job you have. You do the crime and then you do the time,
Mm.
but you still somewhat have the stash of your rewards when it's all said and done, providing you don't get caught before you stash your work, of course. I
That's a
mean,
long
we're not
dopamine.
we're not trying to hustle backwards now, are we?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yeah, of course.
you know what I mean. So these are some of the things I'm thinking about, and it's just like it just had me thinking. You know, I guess I have another question for you.
Mm.
Is there such a thing as true purpose, or
Yes.
merely pure intent?
Intent. When you say,
Intentions, just intent.
uh, yeah,
So I suppose what I'm saying is intent is more like me saying it lacks definition. There is no you're just gonna do, but not necessarily. There's
yeah,
no bigger picture. It's just you
yeah.
do it kind of thing.
Um, I'm team purpose. Cause say you want a house in 5 years, you get the house. You don't even think you before you even breathe. You're thinking, okay, I need to put furniture inside. And then basically what I'm saying is once you get that, intention is all about once you've reached the goal, it's what's next.
Yeah, and you're
Purpose.
saying
Yeah.
you're saying what are you trying to say exactly? You're saying one or the other, but which one are you saying?
I'm saying purpose over
So you're
everything.
saying that one over
Yeah.
that one over intent.
Hmm.
So, but at the same time, I see intent in purpose. I guess that's why I'm asking this question.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Purpose is the bigger brother.
But as we know, a lot of people don't have a purpose.
True.
But for the most part, they have a lot of people with intent.
Yes.
So,
We still need them to run this wheel.
and
Okay.
let's be real, right? Let's be real. I would argue there is more people with intentions than there are with
100%.
purpose.
Sorry. 110%.
So at the end of the day, the majority speaks, doesn't it?
Not
So
in
as
my
much as
words.
we can say, well, that's why I said the majority.
Mm.
But as we know, um, majority is pretty much the overwhelming factor. I mean, it defines the bundle.
Yeah. Because
So if
purpose.
the
Sorry.
majority, sorry, if I just
Hmm.
say it,
No,
if
no,
the
no. Yeah. Yeah.
majority is pure intent, then
Hmm.
what does that mean for purpose?
It's waiting. It's. I even like the fact that the word came Big Brother. because it,
mm.
it it watches you, and then when you're ready, it will appear. What's this? What's one of my favorite sayings? Um, when the student is ready, the master will appear.
I mean, that's a saying. It
Right.
doesn't mean
Meaning,
it happens like that.
but what that why I love that saying is because um, when you when the intention changes, it will lead to growth, and we both know that growth is tied to enlightenment and um, if, human nature. You have to question why you do things, and for the majority that are based on
Mm,
intention, um, they have that thought. It's just not loud enough, and it doesn't need to be that loud enough either. Um,
mm.
which is why I'm able to say this so boldly because I see the need for both. And because I'm not, when I have my days, I'm in tension mode to help me get going, just to get the day going. And
So would you
then
say you run on intent or applied faith to reach
applied
purpose?
faith to do purpose.
To reach purpose,
Yeah.
or to or to
Yeah. Because I'm gonna use
create
the
a bigger
intent. Yeah. Because I'm gonna use the intention to get things done. I'm going to the gym so I can look swole, so I can feel good
picture.
about myself, so I can have more stamina. Let's not lie. Ain't but then depending on what I'm listening to,
Yeah,
audiobook wise,
yeah.
or people's success stories that I've seen about how much being in the gym has helped change them, that adds even more spice to why I want this to be a long term thing.
Mm,
Because what I love about um, applied faith and purpose is that when I see a 60, 70-year-old man in the gym,
yeah.
it's like, why are you in here?
Mm.
Because that movement going to help him feel better and have a better quality of life.
So would you say that's intent or is that purpose?
How I see it is purpose, but what gets me in there is intent. There you go.
Ah,
Yeah.
Strings, I like that.
Come on,
I
man.
like that. I do like that. So yeah, yeah, I like that. Um, I just really wanted to sort of just kind of just associate them so we can see
Yeah,
what
yeah,
they
yeah.
mean, you know,
It's definitely good
and just
exercise.
speak about them in a vacuum.
Mm. Question.
Yeah.
Back to what I was saying. You mentioned belonging
Mm,
and purpose.
yeah.
I have my version, but what's yours? Because that struck a note.
What are you asking me in terms of
Um, when you say purpose, how does belonging fit into that? Why does it fit into that? Does it?
I think it does. I think it does. It could be synonymous, or they could be one's bigger than the other,
Mhm.
but they are like, I think they belong together, if not next to each other, you know? Sort of like peas in a pod, if nothing else. Because when you have purpose, you belong. At least you feel like you do. It gives you the impression that you do
To what?
to a
I think
purpose.
that's yeah. Okay. Ah, you think you slick? Okay. All right. Because when I'm hearing belonging, I'm thinking humanity, like, oh, accept me. Whoa, do you know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
yeah, nah,
I
that's
mean, some people say purpose, some say path, but I think
that's a
purpose
hezzy.
is the umbrella. Purpose the umbrella,
Okay.
but belonging is another branch.
Ooh,
Intent is a
nice.
branch. Dopamine is a branch.
Mm.
It's kind of like fuel. Be like, oh man, the car's low. I need to re up.
Mm-hmm.
Dopamine. I feel better. I
Bingo.
feel I'm gonna continue. You know. So I think you can't throw. There's not many things, even the bad, you can't throw out.
No.
You can't. You shouldn't throw it out because the bad, the lessons. You can't get the lessons without the bad. You can't recycle the errors without the mistakes.
Ooh.
You know. So
Okay.
I think they're all relevant, man. That's
Mm.
why, for the most part, I've gotten to a place where I embrace it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. They're all it's all part of who you are, part of your journey. And so I think, you get to a certain place where even though I've never really been that type of person, but you don't really like you don't really like to be with society. They ask me a question and I just like, what it is.
Mm.
And you just leave it there because you know who you are and yeah, I'm all right with it. So there's not much to I would see as like, oh man, oh, ooh, you caught me out. I'm exposed. You know, don't really exist. So once it's kind of like you've sort of took away that power from that people could use against
Yeah. Even life itself, when it does that, because I was just making a note that the bad and the ugly
you.
is the pain, but I can't help but think about how, as of late, I react to it differently. Still feel like shit, but we've been here before. That's one of
Before.
my sayings lately. Like, I've been here before.
Mm. And as if you lose everything right now and you start again, you're starting again with experience.
Yeah.
So you're not totally, bare. It's a different attempt, reinitiation.
Mm.
As they say, born again, right?
Yeah. Happy Easter.
Yeah, so happy. So yeah,
You started it, bro.
that's where we go with that one. But yeah, you know what I mean? It's like and so sometimes and obviously I'm not religious, but it just sort of just the way we just on right now, it sort of speaks into existence sometimes when people talk about being born again, being baptized. And I suppose it's not necessarily the purpose, but it's the intent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Even yeah,
It's the
definitely
belief
with the
behind.
days. Absolutely. Uh, Funny enough, that even being said on the day as well. I think that's the whole thing behind it.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
because he was like, "Hey, listen, don't cry for me. I know what I'm doing. y'all gonna y'all gonna see me." You know what I mean?
Real talk,
So
real
that's
talk.
there's definitely a knowing when that happens. So yeah, definitely agree. Um,
Well, I'm glad we had this one. Had fun. Had fun. But we started a bit late today.
yes, sorry to the people
So
then.
nah, man, it's all good. We're 9 hours anyway.
Mhm.
But we're gonna have to kill it. Well, we're gonna have to cut it short. um, was that a question, or are you just making notes?
Uh,
To be continued. To be
yeah, because I'm thinking, did this brother actually answer his own question?
but no, I was gonna say thanks for everyone that support the platform. Please,
Yes.
people, follow and start to share your comments, either on Apple or Spotify. And I understand. I do. I'm aware there's a lot of listeners that don't necessarily follow. But if you could start to subscribe, we need to build up our followers and supporters, and just start to continue to build this community. And yeah, I appreciate everyone that's been supporting over the years, old and new supporters and contributors to the platform.
It's 0 hours.
Look at
Bang.
that.
Shout out to a
Bang.
big man.
You know what I mean? Anything you want to say before we go, Strings?
Uh, yeah, man. Happy spring. Get me. Let's get it. Renewal.
Yeah. All right. Until next time, everyone. We'll see you during the week. Take care.